Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brief interview with Mike Hill from LeisureNet Solutions about the Moving Communities Customer Experience Survey. Now, Mike, I think this is the third survey we've done through the customer experience of moving communities, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Third one. The first two, well, the first were done during COVID times as we were initially coming back, or then when we'd been back 6 months. So it's going to be really interesting to see a year on
Yeah.
from the last one, how things have changed.
Excellent. Okay, so talk to me about who took part, how many people took part, how did it work in the first instance?
Yeah, sure. So the Moving Communities Customer Experience Survey is a standardized customer experience survey, which we issue out to all of the local authorities and operators who have signed up for moving communities. We gave them a time period of between June and end of October 2022 to complete the survey, and they do that just by advertising it out to users of their leisure centres, either send out invites by email, advertising on social media. And we got a fantastic response, slightly less than the previous two, but you can see here we had over 39,000 customers complete the survey. So this is still by far the largest survey of its kind, undertaken in our sector. 194 local authorities across England, covering 65 operators, 707 sites in total. So a fantastic snapshot of where we are in the sector today.
Absolutely. And that would be a really good sample, as we can see geographically, but also around age of site and that type of thing as well, which I think is really important when you do these surveys, because if you just get the new sites or just get the old sites, you get a very different view. Okay, so what are the key messages, Mike? What are the things that customers of leisure centres are telling us?
Yeah, sure. Before we do that, I think it's really interesting to see who's competing it, because in the past, when we were doing this, some of the facilities weren't quite open or weren't open fully, and that affected the results. But we've now got quite consistent response from people undertaking different activities. So you can see how the vast majority, or 42% in the October 22, were doing swimming compared to 44 in October. The fitness and the Group X were second and third. So it's a very similar profile to 2021, which is really useful because it means that when we compare the results, we've got a good understanding that it's coming from the same people. I'm going to be talking a lot about satisfaction and NPS in this next couple of minutes.
Okay.
Bear in mind that NPS tends to be lower for swimmers than it does for dry side people. So it's just an important caveat there. But let's look at satisfaction first of all. So these two graphs compare overall satisfaction ratings for 21 versus October 22, same time of year, and we know it's the same sort of sample in terms of activity, and quite similar results in terms of satisfaction. So you can see 43% were very satisfied, 38% quite satisfied. So very similar, as I say, the figures are almost identical as they were a year ago. So that's good to know. The other thing that we're finding out in terms of satisfaction is the difference between different age groups. And again, we can see real consistency here, with the exception of that youngest age group of 16 to 24. Satisfaction levels go up steadily as you move towards the older age groups until you get to the 85 plus. We're up at 93, 94. So a significant difference, 20% difference between a 25 to 34-year-old, the 25 to 34-year-old age groups and those 85 pluses. That's a really big, significant difference. So we need to ask ourselves, why is that? Is it because of their expectations that younger people now have higher expectations, so are judging it more critically, or is it maybe to do with the nature of the activities? But that doesn't really make sense, because those older age groups are probably more likely to be swimming, and we know that satisfaction levels tend to be lower. So it's probably more about expectations differing between those age groups. Now, this is NPS. So bear in mind that obviously satisfaction is just about satisfaction. NPS is about satisfaction and loyalty. So these results really show how you can have the difference between satisfaction and net promoter scores. So October 21, we had an NPS overall across the sector of 35. That's gone, and that was quite low. That was lower than the previous survey, the first one we did, which was up in the 40s. It's now gone down to 22 in October 22. So at NPS of 22, you see promoters, we got 45%, detractors 23%, gives us that NPS of 22. So it's down, 13 points from October 21, which is really significant. And as we know, great sample size in terms of total numbers, also really important, same sort of spread in terms of activity. So that's a little bit disappointing. Where's it coming from? Well, we look at MPS divided by gender now, and we can see that it's actually gone down for both genders compared to 21, but it's gone down really significantly for males. So male MPS back in 21 was 33. It's gone down to 20, but the female was 35 down to 24. So it's dropped for both, but more so for males. And again, is that partly because of the sorts of activities that they're doing? Do we have more people back now doing activities where MPS is driven down compared to a year ago? Or is it to do with specific factors? And the next two slides I think are really, really interesting. So we asked this question, the importance of factors when visiting leisure centre, and these scores show the combined very and quite important scores. So the centre is clean, came to 99% of people rated that as very or quite important. So cleanliness always used to be an issue for our sector, but now during COVID and post-COVID, it's become even more of an issue. People are even more aware of it. Second, staff are helpful and friendly. Third, staff are available when I need it. And the things like value for money and wide range of activities are right down, they're still important, but significantly less important than these big ones up the top here. So that's asking how important the factor is. But then we obviously say, well, how satisfied are you with exactly the same factors? And it allows us to do this importance versus satisfaction comparison. So cleanliness was number one in terms of importance at 99%. Let's look where it is in terms of satisfaction. Right down at the bottom, 67%. So that means we've got a satisfaction versus importance gap, if you like, of 32%, 67 versus 99. So where we're doing well, staff are friendly and helpful. That's quite good, because you can see that's the second most important at 98. We're still underperforming, if you like, but not too much, because the satisfaction rating is 86. And we've got these ones around the middle, which are still lower than their importance rating. But for me, it's all about this one here. The centre is clean, 67%. So we just, and I don't know if you can remember, Dave, but sometimes when people first went back after COVID, the cleanliness ratings and satisfaction were pretty high, weren't they? And I think that was a factor of two things. First, the focus that everyone was putting on it. Secondly, it was a lot quieter. And third one, a lot of the wet side weren't open. So that helped in terms of driving those cleanliness ratings up a bit.
Okay. So that I think that for me, of course, with the Simspa hat on, it's really good to see the power of the team member in here and how valuable the team members are, both perceived and delivering. I guess the challenge is most of our operators are also are being challenged in finding the right people and keeping the right people for a period of time. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got two related to staff here. Staff are available. We've got three: helpful and friendly, available to help here. We also put this one in. This was a new one for us. Teaching, coaching staff are suitably qualified for the activities. Scored highly at 94%. And it did okay in terms of satisfaction at 82%. So there was a bit of a gap there, but not by any means as much as on the cleanliness side of things.
Good. Well, that's a really nice flavour and sample, but the report's got a lot more in it. There was about 32 questions, I think, Mike, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But,
so about 30.
So what we're going to do is provide this report free of charge. So in the social media posts that accompany this interview, we'll have a contact details for an individual to send you a copy of the report so that you can see it if you wish. So brilliant. Mike, thank you so much for your time. Any last moment bits of insight you'd like to share with us from this piece, or the value to this to the sector?
Yeah, just one interesting one, which again is a new question. I think it shows it's a good sign of the way the sector is changing. So this question here: which of any of the fine digital platforms provided by your fitness leisure operators do you use the most? Look at this, 52% are now using the mobile app, 20% on the website, only 16% are not using the website or mobile app. So that's a significant change, again, driven by COVID, the development of the mobile apps and the at-home service provision. So that app now is almost 3 times more important than what's on the website to our new users and members. So a real sign of change there.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Okay, Mike, thank you so much for your time. Really useful insight for the sector as always, and we'll get this shared with people that are interested. Thanks for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Dave. Cheers.